Hey, it's Matt Pitman and Mike Salk here as we preview the Mariners season. Hard to believe, getting underway very, very soon. Friday, 6 o'clock pregame, 7:05, the first pitch of game 1 of 162. Series of breakdowns we want to do, and I want to start it with the starting rotation, because I think you start at the top, and that's where it's the best for the M's, and that's Felix Hernandez. Beyond that, I think a lot of question marks and an opportunity for this rotation to be a strength or a weakness of this club.
Yeah, and I think it's probably going to be a common thing for people to say, no, come on, now there are two things that are set in stone. Jason Vargas did enough last year and over the last year and a half where we don't have to worry about him. I'm not quite there yet, and that's not a knock on Jason Vargas. I think he did quite a bit to separate himself from Doug Fister last year, enough so that I'm sick of people saying Vargas and Fister, Vargas and Fister, Vargas and Fister, but the next challenge for him is now bounce back after 190 innings. It's one thing to do that the first time, and he's 2 years away from the surgically repaired hip, but do it again, and now all of a sudden I'll believe that this is a legitimate thing that you can do every single year. That's not a knock on Jason, who I have a lot of faith in, but got to see it a second year after putting in the innings to believe that he's going to be a 2 or 3 starter in the big leagues. After that, Doug Fister, a little worried about where he slots in this year. Eric Bedard has pitched as well as anybody, Matt, throughout the spring. Do you trust it?
I do, for now. And the reason is because he's healthy and he's been able to progress along every line and checkpoint that they asked him to in spring, and that's something that in 3 years he hadn't been able to do for this organization. I think that things need to be tempered and very realistic with what you expect for him. And I think the first thing is, just because he's healthy and just because he is where he needs to be, doesn't mean that he's going to be a different Eric Bedard that all of a sudden is going to pitch 7 innings a night and go 120 pitches. He's still going to be 5 innings and 100 on the nose. But when that guy's on, that's a pretty darn good 5 innings every 5th day.
The next day you're going to see Michael Pineda, who is as exciting a young pitcher as you will find in the game. Adam Moore is going to catch for the Mariners and may even become his personal catcher. We'll have to see. Called him a donkey, called him an animal, called him just a big freak out there on the mound, and he is. He's 6'7", he's enormous.
Right. He's
got incredible velocity on the fastball. Can he control it? As of now, yeah, but can he command it? That's going to be the question. All rookies go through it. He may have dominant stuff, and he may flash that at times. I still think we're probably getting ahead of ourselves if we start counting on him to win 10, 11, 12 games. Remember, the bats probably aren't going to be there. He's going to be pitching in tight games right off the bat. Still very exciting to watch this guy right off the bat. The big donkey.
The big donkey. I hadn't heard that before, and I'm kind of glad I hadn't. But no, Felix Hernandez won 4 games in his first year. Now, granted, this kid named Felix Hernandez, pretty good young kid out of Venezuela, back in 05 for the M's. He came up kind of midway through the season, so it's a little bit different there. But I think we're going to get to a point probably around July, August, where all of a sudden that innings total is really going to have racked up quickly on Michael Pineda. So how do they combat that? I think they'll skip him as the number 5 guy. Opportunities, they don't have a lot of them in April. May, those will come around. But 165, 170 innings is going to be the cap for him.
Yeah, the one thing you know, though, is, again, until he can command all of his pitches, how many times are we really paying attention to innings with him or number of pitches thrown with him? All right, he only threw 3 1/3, but what if he threw 100 pitches in that 3 1/3? What if they were stressful? I mean, pitching coaches like to say it's not just how many pitches you throw, but how much stress and how much pressure you threw them under. That's also something to watch for.
Well, within that, I think, is the thing that Carl Willis and Eric Wedge have hammered on all spring, and that is command of the secondary stuff. And if he's going to go out there, he can throw fastball, 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 get those strikeout numbers. I think the walk numbers might be in there too, but he's going to have to find a way to put people away with some of those pitches from time to time. And he's shown the ability to do that this camp.
For right-handers, I don't think people are too worried. It was that slider that last year Dave Niehaus called the stank.
The stank!
The question is, does he have a pitch to go this way, a pitch to dive away from left-handers? If the changeup can be that pitch for him, probably be in very good shape. It's a matter of seeing how, again, that develops.
And the change is new, and the change is something that he's kind of tried to perfect, at least get a good grip of, and the feel that they all talk about this spring. Some games it's been there, some games it hasn't, and that will continue on into the regular season. That's a look at the rotation for the M's. It starts, like I said, at the top. Pretty darn good one. Felix, he's on the mound on Friday, 7:05. It's on 710 ESPN Seattle.